Okay, hey everyone, I'm Keisha White, and I am founder and creative director at White House Branding Studio. We help companies create a lead generating, standout digital presence that helps them attract more of their ideal clients and opportunities. We are currently booking spots for the summertime, so if you're interested in working together for branding and website design, make sure you click the link in the description with this video, and then you can chat with me about possibly working together. So, in today's video, I am going to talk all about brand color psychology. And this is one of my favorite topics when it comes to branding because oftentimes, when it comes to the visual brand, the colors are kind of like really the foundation of your entire visual brand. And the color palette determines like what's going to be in your imagery. It's going to determine how your logo is going to look. It's going to determine how all of your marketing materials and all of your collateral will look. And if you just select the colors without any knowledge of color psychology, then unfortunately you could be giving off the wrong impression about your business and your brand without realizing it. So this is a common mistake that a lot of DIYers tend to make when they're doing their own branding or website design, or if they go to a designer who isn't really well versed in color psychology and they're just kind of picking things for you on a whim. Then it could be potentially the wrong colors for what you really want your business to represent. So if you want your business to represent a certain type of message, which every business does, then you need to make sure the color palette that you're selecting for your business is in alignment with the messaging and with the overall strategy of your brand and business. And remember, your brand strategy essentially is what your business is all about. It's your goals for your business. It's the kind of target clients that you want to reach. It's what are your differentiators? What makes you unique and different in the market? What are the special things about your company that you want to emphasize and highlight as you brand yourself? Like, is there a certain way that you do business, or is there a certain background that you bring, or a certain personality trait, like the brand personality piece that I talked about last week with the archetypes? So your brand strategy is all of those things when it comes to like, what is the goal here that you want your brand, what like representation do you want it to have? How do you want people to feel when they interact with your brand? What kind of people do you want the brand to appeal to? And then once all that stuff is clear on the strategy piece, then it's time to select colors. So this way you can make better informed decisions on, okay, like I want my brand to represent growth and renewal and freshness. So maybe I should use green. Like green could be a color that could fit that message. And so that's usually my process when I am working with clients. I always begin with a strategy session whenever we're doing brand identity design. And then I get into the design work. So this helps them have branding that has a well thought out strategy behind it. It helps them have a brand that's very unique to them, because when we're clear on their unique strategy and what makes them special first, that oftentimes that gives me some information that I can use to kind of select unique brand colors for a business instead of like kind of generic colors. Because I'm going to share a few examples too at the end of my slides, but you can brand on what you want your business to represent, but you could also brand on how you want your business to feel to others. And it doesn't have to be just locked into what is industry standard in your industry. Because a lot of times I'm working with a lot of consultants who do consult in the corporate space. And then when it comes to the corporate space, you see a lot of blue logos. I call it the corporate blue. But with my clients who I do branding for in the consulting space, I'm not going to just give them all corporate blue because they are in the corporate consulting space. I get deep into like, okay, what are they trying to represent? What unique personality are they bringing to the business? How do they want people to feel with their particular brand? And then I select colors based on that as well. So I'm going to go through each color really, really quick and talk about what each color represents, so you can have a bit of like background information on just in case you are doing your own branding, or even if you're trying to evaluate your brand and you're trying to determine like, is my brand in alignment with what I want my business to represent? This can give you a little bit of clarity. And yeah, it'll definitely make you feel a lot more informed when it comes to selecting colors. Oh, and one more mistake that a lot of people make too is they tend to select colors that they like on a personal level, like in their personal life. And I always have to remind clients that it's kind of okay to get some inspiration from your personal life when it comes to maybe the personality that you bring to the business, or your style of doing business, or your style of interacting with clients. But when it comes to like decoration choices, like let's say you just love purple and everything in your bedroom at home is purple, and you just want your business to be purple just because you just like purple. But that's not a good reason to carry that color into your business just because it's a personal preference. There needs to be a lot more strategy behind it, because purple may not be the right representation once you start getting into how you want people to feel when they interact with your business and what purple represents, and all of that. So we're going to talk about what each color represents. And then this way you can have some background information if you are considering whether your brand colors are in alignment or not, or if you're just kind of creating your own color palette from scratch, or if you're getting ready to work with a designer, you can give better feedback and that type of thing. So the first color is red. So red evokes feelings of power, passion, intensity, and boldness. It's a very bright, bold, eye-catching color. So it's a lot of times used to like grab people's attention. And believe it or not, red actually inspires a feeling of hunger in people. And so here are a few brands that use red. Chick-fil-A is definitely a major brand that uses red. And if you kind of step back and can think about it, a lot of fast food brands use red. And that's because of that feeling of kind of creating hunger in people. Somehow they say red makes people feel hungry, apparently. But yes, and red is also used as that eye-catching, bold color. So we have Target and Netflix also use it. And then Target, they definitely want to capture your attention with the red, with this bullseye in their logo. They are definitely trying to capture your attention, draw you in. Even Netflix is doing the same here with the red. So if you have a brand where you're trying to show that you're very bold, you're trying to capture attention, you're trying to show like this power, this passion, this boldness, then red could be a color to consider for that. And our next color is orange. And orange evokes feelings of being energetic. Like orange is a kind of a little bit of a mix between some of the meanings of red and yellow kind of put together. So it represents being energetic, actually innovation as well. And I think maybe even nonconformity, like someone that'll go against the grain type of feeling. And then it also represents fun and enthusiasm as well. So you see orange with brands that are associated with fun oftentimes. So I know Hooters is definitely a brand where people go there for fun, to kind of kick back, have their drinks, have a good time with their friends. So they have orange in here. Then we have Nickelodeon. As we all know, Nickelodeon is a kids network that's associated with fun for kids. So that is definitely a brand that's associated with fun, and excitement as well, enthusiasm. And then we have the Home Depot. And from what I learned about the Home Depot, they want people to feel excited and kind of enthusiastic about the possibilities of what they can do with their home decor. So that's kind of why they used orange. So if you have a brand where you want to feel people to feel energized when they see your brand, you want it to feel fun, you want it to feel innovative, like you might kind of go against the grain, then orange could be a great color for that. Even coral as well could be a great color for that as well, like a color in the orange family, if you don't, of course, use the exact true orange like this shade. And our next color is yellow. Yellow is one of my favorites to use, because a lot of times clients want to give off a feeling of fun in what they do. But yellow represents feelings of optimism, joy, fun. Because again, yellow and orange orange is kind of the blend of the yellow and red. And then it also represents positivity. So oftentimes in brands that want to represent like this happiness and this fun type of mentality, you are going to see yellow with those brands. And so we have IKEA here. And again, they are a home related brand too. So I know yellow is used here to kind of inspire people to be like, okay, what fun things are you going to do in your home now? Are you excited? Are you optimistic about your new fresh space? Then we also have National Geographic has some yellow incorporated in theirs. And of course, their content is all about adventures and things you can do for fun and leisure to explore. So yellow fits perfect there. And then the Snapchat logo has yellow in that as well. And with that, that app was definitely created for fun, for people to exchange their photos and their short videos and kind of have fun interacting and chatting with one another. So if you have a brand where you want people to feel joyful when they interact with you, or maybe you bring fun to your work and you're not doing things in an old traditional stuffy way. You want people to feel positive and optimistic about what you're going to do in your business, then yellow is an excellent color for that. And our next color is green. And so green evokes feelings of growth, renewal, even wealth and prosperity, and also wellness, because green just has that nice, fresh type of look and feel. And so brands that use green include Whole Foods Market. So, of course, a fresh branded grocery store that prides itself on having fresh ingredients, fresh organic produce and food and all the things. Green fits perfectly for them. Fidelity Investments also has green here, and it kind of represents that wealth, that prosperity, because they're helping their clients grow their wealth, become more prosperous, have their savings and investments together. And then Starbucks uses green too. And so I was kind of thinking, like, why do they use green? But I guess with their coffee beans and their ingredients as well, they probably are like kind of emphasizing the freshness of their coffee beans and of their products too. So if you have a brand that represents some type of growth or some type of renewal, anything regarding like wealth and prosperity or even wellness, green is definitely a good color to incorporate for those types of meanings. And our next color is purple. So purple represents feelings of spirituality, luxury, wisdom, and even creativity and type like mysticism and mystery too. So purple you see a lot of times with spiritual related brands or churches or kind of like mysterious, mystical, magical brands is what I was going to say. And so major brands that use purple, this is a random mashup of brands, but Hallmark uses purple, and I believe why they use purple, definitely with the crown, it feels very luxurious. And then I would also think with them is probably a little bit of that wisdom and spirituality too, because a lot of the content that they create is kind of like to teach you a lesson or to kind of have a deeper underlying meaning behind their movies and their content. Even the cards that they're sending off, those are kind of meant to give people some nice little inspiration when they open the greeting card and that type of thing. And then sci-fi, of course, that's a channel where they have all this scientific sci-fi type of content, or just this kind of magical, mystical world type of content. So purple makes a lot of sense for that. And then we have Crown Royal. I know that's a wild card, but I wanted to add that one in there because it's one I can tell they were trying to make the logo look luxurious. And so that's why purple was incorporated here, because they were kind of trying to use that, okay, this like velvet fabric, this luxury feel that we're trying to create with the crown and the gold. So that's why it was used here. So if you have a brand where you want to evoke feelings of luxury, maybe it's very creative brand, maybe it's very mystical and spiritual, then purple would definitely be a good color for you. And then another color that incorporates luxury, I didn't include it here, but gold is a luxury color. I'm sure you can tell here, but I will warn you, stay away from metallic golds. Metallic golds do tend to cheapen a brand. So if it's kind of like a shiny metallic in 2023, that's totally out of date. But like a nice yellow tone that just feels more gold, like here in this Crown Royal letters here, that's a gold that still can feel luxurious without cheapening the brand. And our next color is pink. And the color pink evokes feelings of femininity, love, compassion, and playfulness. So pink just feels very connected, very welcoming, very girly, and that type of thing. And so brands that use pink, of course, we have our classic Victoria's Secret. They have a whole brand named Pink in that. So they are trying to make the brand feel feminine to appeal and draw in women. Definitely the brand Barbie. The Barbie dolls have been created for girls since I don't know how long. So they are definitely a brand that's going to use pink to attract girls. And then Baskin Robbins, I wanted to include one that wasn't necessarily tailored specifically to women because pink doesn't have to be in feminine brands. It can be paired with another color to make it not necessarily feel feminine anymore. If you just want a feeling of kind of like playfulness or even just a feeling of connection and kind of like a love feeling a little bit. So Baskin Robbins, to me, it looks like they were going more for like a fun type of logo because with ice cream, people are kind of trying to let their hair down, get a little treat, maybe with their family or friends or whatever. And it's kind of associated with like a leisure, like fun type of activity. So I can tell they incorporated the pink for like this kind of fun type of feeling there. And even the font style that they chose. I will likely probably do a font video soon to kind of talk a bit on fonts. I always feel like fonts can get really technical because there's so many fonts. Like there's like endless numbers of fonts that designers can pick from, and it can get overwhelming to people who aren't designers. But I'll probably do a little overview of like fonts and fonts that are good and what they mean and the fonts that you should avoid at all costs. And then our next color is blue. And blue, this is the corporate blue that I was talking about because you see blue so much in corporate logos. But I think literally like every company that I worked for when I was in corporate had blue in their logo. I'm not even joking. I think except one. One was green, but the rest of them were like all blue. But anyway, but blue evokes feelings of trustworthiness and professionalism. So that's why they use it so much in the corporate world. And then it can also evoke feelings of calmness and serenity, especially those lighter shades of blue. Like if we kind of lighten it, like this shade is a little deeper. So it's definitely more that trustworthy, professional corporate blue. But if it's a bit lighter, a few shades down from this, then that one is kind of more of a soothing, calming blue, almost like a ocean blue type of blue, like it's a calming, like water blue. That type of blue is the more calming, serene shade of it. And so brands that use blue, of course, our beloved LinkedIn, where we are right now, that is definitely blue because they are a brand that's associated with professionalism. They want professionals on there talking about professional things mostly. I guess not so much now, but it's a platform for professionals to share about work and life outside of work and share jobs. So blue fits perfectly there. Boeing uses blue. And of course, as an airline manufacturer, they absolutely need to be trustworthy and professional because they literally have people's lives in their hands with the planes. And then Salesforce, it was one of the places I worked for that had a blue logo. So I had to throw one of my old workspaces in there. But yes, they definitely, of course, want trustworthiness and professionalism with their software because they're trying to sell this CRM software to all these different large companies. So they need to have a feeling of being secure, being trustworthy, like you can trust us, we'll secure your data, we'll be reliable, and that kind of thing. And then black evokes feelings of power, elegance, and sophistication. So a lot of times you see black used a lot, like with the luxury brands. So it's very, very common in the luxury branding space. And so a few brands that use black, Dior is definitely a brand that uses black. It's a luxury clothing brand, of course. And then even this font style is very luxurious. This serif font, love this font style, by the way. And then the New York Times also uses black. It's a classic newspaper that has been around for a very long time. So black is just nice and classic for them. And then the Bentley logos, black and white. As we all know, Bentley is a higher end luxury vehicle. So black is definitely perfect for them for that elevated luxury feel. So if you have a brand that you want to feel luxurious, to feel powerful, to have that air of sophistication, then black is definitely a good color for that. And one little note on sophistication and color palette. So if you want a brand that feels a little more high end and even like elegant and elevated, deeper color shades are going to give that feeling off, because when you go lighter in the color spectrum to like more like pastel shades, then that tends to feel youthful and young. So if you do want your brand to feel youthful in some respect, then those pastel shades can work. But if you're going for more like that luxury, that sophisticated, that elevated feel, then the deeper color tone. So that would be like a deep magenta type of thing. And of course, black. So just a little note on shades of colors, because of course there's spectrums to all the colors. Colors can be darker on the darker side of the spectrum or the lighter, more pastel side of the spectrum. So that's just a little meaning of what they represent. And so, like I mentioned in the beginning, I was also going to talk about the feelings that you want your brand to evoke, because sometimes there could be more like an overall feeling that you want people to feel when they look at the brand. So this is a client example. This was from a client who was a therapist, and she wanted people to feel like they had a comforting, safe space to open up with her. She wanted it to feel very warm. And so this was an example of kind of like a warm color palette here. So we have the nice warm brown, the nice golden warm yellow, and then the eggshell rust, and then the midnight blue. So the blue is a little dark here because I wanted it to fit in with the warmer colors. So this was one of her mood boards. So if you know you want your brand to feel very warm, very comforting, very welcoming, you can do like a search for like warm color palettes, and then a lot of ideas can come up for that. So that's a way to get ideas of like a fleshed out palette and not just kind of like one color. Because I know it, even going through color psychology, I know it can still be kind of hard to think about like how do I pair these colors together. So if you kind of break it down to like the feelings that you want the colors to evoke, that is going to help a lot. And then a color palette could also be one that feels fresh. So maybe you want it to feel fresh and kind of vibrant when people interact with your brand. So this was a client example as well. And we wanted it to feel very fresh, very vibrant, like they had some transformational ideas. And it was also kind of inspired by the Beach Bay area in California. And so we had a nice bright green here. This was a very vibrant green, and then a blue that complemented it well to kind of pull that trustworthy and professional piece. Because this was for a consultant, but they didn't want to be viewed as that stuffy, like traditional consultant. They wanted to pull a little personality in, but still be professional. So that's why the blue was pulled in. And then the softer shade of blue that kind of has that calm feeling. And then the purple as well to kind of represent wisdom as consultants. So this palette and just these pictures overall was meant to feel very fresh and very new. It's just kind of like fresh and new. So if you know you want your brand to feel fresh, like you're bringing something fresh, something innovative and new to the table, you can search for like fresh color palettes, and then you'll get a lot of ideas that way as well. And then I have one more example. So this kind of goes back to what I mentioned about if you want a sophisticated, high-end type of look with your color palette, then deeper color shades are really, really good for that. So this is a recent project where it's actually in the works right now. And this client definitely wanted that sophisticated, luxurious looking color palette. So we went for deep shades. That's a deep midnight blue, a darker green, a brown, and then black, and then just basically a white neutral. So this feels very luxe, very sophisticated and high end. And of course, the imagery complements that as well. So again, if you want a color palette that feels luxurious or even sophisticated, you could type in luxurious color palettes or even sophisticated color palettes and get a lot of ideas that way as well. So hopefully that was helpful for you, because I've been wanting to do a color psychology breakdown for a while. But make sure as you're selecting colors for your business and your brand that you're doing them in an informed way, and you're not just selecting things because this your personal favorite color. I even in my business, like I really like blue a lot lately, like blue and white a lot. Certain shades of blue, not all shades of blue, but I still didn't want to just make my business blue and white all overall. I was like, okay, I have to research this and brand my business based on what I wanted to represent and how I want people to feel when they interact with my brand. And so I had to get out of my personal preferences and then go ahead and put it out there in a way that was branding my business in the way I wanted it to be represented. So make sure you do the same thing for your business. Do the research. Make sure you're being intentional about what you want your colors to represent, how you want people to feel when they interact with your business. Is it fresh? Is it warm? Is it luxurious? Is it innovative? Is it creative? It could be literally anything under the sun. And then remember, when you are defining what you want your brand or your business to represent, there's not necessarily a right or wrong way. Because when you're branding yourself in a very specific way, you're going to attract like the kinds of clients that you really want anyway. And you're also going to make yourself stand out. So as you're working on how you want people to feel when they interact with your business, if it's a little bit different than what's customary in your industry, there's nothing wrong with that. That's actually fine. That's actually better, honestly, because people do tend to get into these little boxes and do the same thing in every industry. So you want to break out of that. If you do have some cool, innovative ideas that other people aren't doing, then do it, and don't be afraid to go against the grain if it looks a little bit different than what other people are doing in your industry. So hopefully this was helpful. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for checking out the video. And if you want to work together for branding and website design, whether you're creating a new brand and website from scratch, or if you're ready for a rebrand, I love doing rebrands when companies are at a place where they're ready to change things up to go to their next phase and they need a completely new look, then make sure you click the link in the description with this video and you can get all the details on working together. You can check out some client case studies. There's some of my rebrand examples in the case studies, so you can see their before and afters. And then you can schedule a free strategy session to get started, and we can chat about what could be a game plan for your brand and your website as well. So thank you so much for checking out the video. I will talk to you next week in my next one, and hope everybody has a good weekend for what's 4th of July. I was about to say Memorial Day. I get them mixed up because they have the same red, white, and blue thing, but I hope everybody has a great 4th of July weekend and everything, and I will be back with another video next week. So see you in the next one. Bye.